Hello, everyone, and welcome into your daily card reading. This is for Thursday, May 9th. We're going to be taking a look to see what all energies want to come in for you from God, Spirit, the Divine. And today I was called to use my dog tarot deck, so switching and using that as the primary deck for the reading for today. All right, let's dive in and we'll take a look, and we're going to look at the energy for the collective in general. Then we're going to look sign grouping by sign grouping. I'm going to do something a little different today, I think, when we do the individual groupings. So let me know in the comments below what you think, if you like it, or if it's just kind of adding, extra time type of thing into the reading. So let me know if you find it helpful or useful. And as always, take only what resonates. If the story that's coming through for your sign grouping doesn't really apply to you, then the message maybe is intended for somebody else who's listening today. All right, overall energy for the collective, we have the Knight of Wands, we have the Ace of Cups in reverse, and then we have the Five of Cups. So the Knight of Wands energy, this is going to be that adventurous, like courageous, kind of fearless type of energy that's wanting to come through. With our Ace of Cups in reverse, this is a little bit about being unloved and kind of some creative blocks and maybe like a little bit of a sense of loss. So I think that sense of being unloved is kind of fueling this. All right, let's do something different. Let's try to move into more of a space of feeling that love coming through. The Five of Cups is also a card about feeling loss, like a sense of grief and sadness, because in this deck, you can see it, the dog is looking at the three cups out there in front that are tipped over. There's still the two back here that are standing, but the dog has kind of turned its back on the ones that are standing. So there is kind of this focus on loss and feeling unloved. But the positive side of that is that there's also this energy, this courageous energy that wants to come in. So we're going to start today with our fire signs. So that is going to be Aries, Leo, Sag. And the first card I'm going to pull out of our Housewife Tarot deck is, what is the major challenge that is affecting our fire signs for today? So this one was the card that was wanting to jump. The Four of Swords, and so that is about rest and healing, and then the Hermit in reverse. And that's going to be kind of this sense of feeling isolated and on your own, like almost feeling like a sense of exile. So that is the energy that's coming through for the fire signs, and that's really, it's really coming through as like this sense of loss and grief, but it is triggering the healing to come through as well. So let's take a look. What is the other energy that wants to come through for today for our fire signs, using our regular deck here that we normally do? The Hierophant. So this is going to be in regards to a traditional structure. That's that inside of the box thinking. And this could be this sense of loss. Maybe there's a relationship that's falling apart, like a marriage, or a long-standing established job that's falling apart. And this card, I feel like when the Hierophant comes out, it's cueing in that this is related to some traditional structure that's in your life, but then it also has the suggestion as well, or the push from the universe, that you need to seek out a guru, a mentor, somebody who can help kind of guide you through this, since there is an energy coming through that our fire signs are wanting to work on this. They're wanting to heal, and there is that sense of courage and adventure of, you know what, I don't have to be stuck in this narrative. I want to get out of it. How do I heal so that I can get out of this narrative? All right, these cards that came out, intuitive communication, silent whispers of the heart, and then jewel within a teardrop, appreciation, spiritual and emotional reconnection. And then the one that I pulled was the search, feeling lost, confused, and lonely. There's definitely this sense within the collective, and within our fire signs here, that there's a feeling of being out on your own, like you're exiled, as you're working on your healing. And sometimes healing does feel very lonely. It feels like, oh, I just keep churning the same thing over and over as I try to keep processing. So it's not surprising that those energies are coming in together. This jewel within a teardrop, being able to appreciate the experience, even if it was a crappy experience, and a hard experience, being able to appreciate that, and then intuitively, like listening to those intuitive communications coming in for you from spirit. What was the point of it? How can you incorporate the point of it? The card here that came out is sit in the stillness and a new path will emerge. And that has a lot of the same color as this intuitive communication part. And this is a matter of sometimes you just need to have that feeling of exile, being cut off from everybody else so that you can sit in that stillness and not be influenced by anybody else's energetic field, and just sit and think about, what is it that I want to do? How can I take this next courageous leap forward in my experience here? One more card. Life's purpose. Seek your own deeper vision for life. And this is kind of going in here with this search as well. You're searching for this sense of, what is my purpose? What is, all this loss that you felt, why is it happening? There's a reason for it. It's not just, hey, could go this way, could go that way. Let's go a painful way today. There's a reason for it. And as you sit in the stillness and work on your healing, that reason will come to you. And once you're able to understand the reason, the path forward seems much more clear to you, because you'll understand, oh, this hurt had to happen so that I can, fill in the blank. I can step into my power. I can advocate for myself. I can use my voice. I can, whatever the case may be. So that is the message coming through for fire signs. And next up, we have our earth sign. So again, we'll pull a card. Fire signs had a jump card, but we'll pull a card here. What is the challenge for our earth signs, which is going to be our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn? Ace of Swords. So your challenge is this breakthrough and clarity. Your challenge is, as you sit in this sense of loss and grief, and feeling unloved, what is that breakthrough clarity moment of, oh, now I get why I continue to be in this cycle. Now I get why I have this experience in my life. It's there to teach me something. And so that's your challenge, is how do you identify, once you can identify the reason and what that challenge is, why things unfolded the way they did, it's much easier to see what the next steps are. If you can see what the lesson is supposed to be, it becomes much more clear. What are you being called? What are you being called to do so that you can end that looping cycle? All right. And the World card is what came out. And that is what you want to do. This is the triumph, the conclusion of a cycle. This is victory over whatever that lesson is. But your challenge is you have to be able to identify what the lesson is, because otherwise, how are you going to know if that cycle has ended? I mean, if you're just kind of floating along every day and, oh, okay, well, I guess this is what's happening, you don't really have much of a sense of, yes, but I've now moved past this. I've now moved past that. My life is going in this direction. So you have to be able to have that clarity and that breakthrough, and you have to be able to see what it is so that you can end that cycle. And it is related to whatever this sense of loss, grief, feeling unloved, like that. You have to be able to identify what that lesson is so that you can move past it. And then you can move past it in this courageous way to say, oh, now I get it. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Your Gaia card is peace, dissolving unwanted or disturbing thoughts. If this pattern that creates this scenario where you're feeling unloved and where you're feeling this sense of loss and sadness and grief and all of that, you need to be able to find that peace and say, okay, I don't want to keep looping through those mental patterns. I don't want that narrative to keep going through my head over and over and over again. But you have to be able to have that clarity and that breakthrough first. So that's your challenge. You have to be able to have that. And a lot of times that's going to take some focused effort of quieting the monkey mind, quieting your fears and doubts and all of that. So the two cards that came up, the jump card was tap into your creative side. And sometimes if you're able to do that, you can find clarity through that. If you're a writer and you can tap into that and start writing a story, then some of the times you end up realizing, oh, wait, so the character that I painted as being the bad guy in this story is exhibiting XYZ traits. Okay, that's saying something to me. Oh, this is how the hero or the main character in the story overcomes this difficulty. That's what I need to do. So that can help you. Or if you're a musician or an artist, whatever the case may be, tap into that creativity, because sometimes that will give you insight into what it is that you need to be doing. And then this card says, zoom out and see what lesson is unfolding. Again, this goes exactly hand in hand with this Ace of Swords being your challenge, that you're not having that breakthrough. You're not having that clarity. And so that's why you're looping, because you don't see what the lesson is. The first thing is you have to be able to see what the lesson is in order to close it out. Otherwise, you're just kind of fumbling around in the dark and there's not really any sense of direction or purpose to it. So you have to see what the lesson is before you can close it out. All right. And our Sufi Wisdom Oracle card, Dawn of Love. Love is rising on the horizon of your life. There's something that's loving that wants to come in, but while you continue to trudge through the mud trying to figure out what this lesson is and trying to close it out, this other loving, happy experience is not going to be able to come in, because right now you're too overwhelmed and inundated with whatever this scenario is, this feeling unloved, this feeling of loss and sadness and grief. That is dominating your energy field right now. So you need to be able to close that out so that you can have this other loving experience come in. All right. That was the message for our earth signs. And now we are on to our water signs. Oh, this card first. What is the challenge that is coming in right now for our earth signs? The Hierophant in reverse. So your challenge is about breaking out of traditional structures. It's about kind of forging your own path. And this is a lot of that with our water signs. This is our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And this is kind of that North Node in Aries energy, that living a life true to yourself, standing in your truth and being unapologetically you. So breaking out of whatever structures you've come to believe are required of you, to be able to say, well, how could I do things differently? How could I do things that are more authentically me, that bring me into alignment better? And Judgment. Remember, this is going to be that card of you've taken the class, you've taken the lesson, and now you're at a point where you're getting ready to take the final exam. Did you learn the lesson? Are you going to pass the exam? Did you understand what the purpose of it was, and can you apply it? And that is divine judgment coming in, saying, okay, are you ready to move on to the next thing, to whatever this next happy phase is, whatever that might be, of being able to stand in your truth, or are you still falling victim to all of the outside worlds and pressures and thoughts? So some of the times too, if you're not ready and you end up looping through a cycle, know that has happened for you. And this might be, sometimes it's a challenge to embrace that, but it happened for you because you're not ready for that experience yet. The divine isn't going to give you something that you're not ready for. And that's why these tests keep coming in, is, are you ready for it? Your Gaia card is loss, grief, sadness, and resurrection. So that's matching up here. You've had a lot of grief, you've had a lot of loss, and part of the lesson with that is for you to say, okay, why was that in my life? What did I learn? What would I do differently the next time something like this comes around? And the idea of you have to be ready for it. If you're, if you've been given, say you get some beautiful little bonsai tree plant, there's a very specific way you have to take care of it in order to not kill it. And, if you've gotten it once and it died, and then you get another one and it died, and you're sad, like, but I really want one of those. If you don't know how to take care of it and you haven't put in the work to read and research and figure it out, the divine is not going to bring more and more and more of them in so that you can continue to just kill them. I mean, that's a plant, and you could use a more extreme example of, I really want to have a kitten because they're so cute and they're so loving and that would be wonderful and that's what I want. Well, if you keep getting kittens and they end up having problems and they die, and the universe isn't going to keep bringing in the same thing until you've learned. So that's what this lesson is. Maybe you want something bigger than that, and the universe is giving you, first a plant to see, can you handle the plant? Okay, can you handle the kitten before you have, for example, like a baby to take care of? Because, you can't just, wing it, doesn't matter. You have to be able to be responsible enough to take care of it. So anytime there's a loss, know that there's a message in there about what should I learn from that? What could I do differently? How can I incorporate those lessons to help me grow? Your hard work will pay off. If you focus on that, if you really, really work on figuring out what are the lessons, how can I work towards a better outcome the next time, that is what's going to help you pass that test that's coming in from the universe, is putting in the hard work. So you do need to put in the hard work. You can't just say, well, I'll just keep trying and trying and trying, but I'm not really going to put in the hard work of learning from these I'm not going to call them mistakes, learning from these experiences. All right, and then simple pleasures. Look for beauty that is all around you. And this is something, being mindful of what's happening around you. Some of the lesson could be around, if you're too focused on one thing, you're missing all of this other beautiful, beautiful stuff that's happening around you. And if you're so singularly focused on one thing, maybe that's what you're losing, so that you have the ability to look around you and see everything that's beautiful. So that is the message for our water signs. Now let's move on to our air signs, which is our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. First thing that we'll do here is we'll pull a card here. What is the challenge right now for our air signs, please? The challenge is the King of Pentacles in reverse, and so that's going to be financial irresponsibility. So that's the challenge right now, is or I say financial irresponsibility, irresponsible use of your resources. So that could be your time and your energy and your money. And some of that, like if it's irresponsible use of your time, if you have important things that you need to be doing, are you procrastinating all day? Are you just kind of mindlessly scrolling online all day? Are you, spending all day sleeping, watching movies, when you have this really important something that needs to come in, that needs to be done? So that's going to be your challenge, is how do you overcome that? And then we also have the Chariot. So this is overcoming obstacles. It's that fast moving energy. And with this sense of loss that's out there, it could also be with your irresponsibility, this, I'll call it resource irresponsibility, that you keep putting time and effort and money into things that don't pan out. And it's causing you a lot of sadness, and it's causing you some grief and some sorrow and a sense of loss. Like, why is it that every time, and it could be with relationships, why is it that every time I get into a relationship and I'm trying so hard, the other person just doesn't care, and it always falls apart? So that could be that type of energy, or that type of message, like that your challenge is overextending yourself in relationships and not keeping enough of that for you, and to keep that energy for you and direct it into something different, something exciting, something courageous, something adventurous that you want to do can make it feel like a loss. Like, well, am I turning my back on this other situation, when really some of that is just taking care of yourself, making sure, with North Node in Aries right now, it's really about being unapologetically you. It's about standing in your truth. And, part of that is that healthy level of selfishness and putting yourself first. So that might feel like a loss to you, because if you've been in imbalanced situations where anytime you put yourself first, then you're made to feel bad about it, that could be a sense of loss for you that you're navigating. Attachment, letting go, and restriction and fear. And that could be that anxious attachment style that, you feel like you have to constantly be there holding on to it, because otherwise it's going to, run away. So that card jumped. Our pulled card is yin yang, creating harmony through balance. And it looks like that obstacle, that attachment style obstacle, is being overcome, and it's coming in quick. Like there may have been one of those aha epiphany moments that's helping to kind of drive that home. And by finding that balance, that will help move you out of that looping cycle. The card that came up here is stop making excuses for them or it, whatever it is. If it's a person, stop making excuses for the person. If it's a situation like with a job, stop making excuses for the job. And the example there is, if you're feeling unloved and having this sense of loss related to the fact that you're always the one giving, are you making excuses for them and saying, well, but they would if they could, but right now things are just really tough. Like things are really busy for them at work, so I'm just going to give a little bit more. And then next it's, oh, well, their sister just lost her job, so now they have to step up and really help out over with their sister. Okay, so, well, I'll just take care of more. I'll do more. I'll give more in our situation because they're taking care of somebody else. Or, like always coming up with some excuse that, well, but, once things calm down, then they'll do this. Once it calms down, then they'll show me the love and affection that I want. Stop making excuses for them. If it was important, if it's important enough to them, they will find the time. They will find the time to be able to put that energy in. So make sure that it's one thing to be compassionate and extending grace to the other person. It's another thing to just be making up excuses for their behavior all the time. If the person is, mean or neglectful, oh, well, they're just really stressed out right now. And, it'll get better. Will it? Make sure that you are, use this adventurous, courageous energy to say, I understand and appreciate the struggles that, you're having, if this is with a relationship or at work. Like, I understand that we're understaffed, but I'm not going to continue to work, 50% more hours with no additional pay because boss, employer, company have chosen to not staff us correctly. I'm not going to make excuses for the fact that, oh, well, so-and-so's on maternity leave. Well, this person is sick, No, if they're understaffed at some point, the company needs to step up and do something about it. Otherwise, they don't really care about their employees. So that type of energy, like, don't make excuses for them. Work of art, be the portrait of divine beauty. And the divine beauty in terms of helping other people and helping and extending compassion and grace, that's part of that divine beauty. But part of that is also being able to sit there and say, no, I know what I'm worth. I know that I deserve to be loved, respected, treated well, appreciated for my efforts, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a job, whether it's in a friendship or, a social group. Like, I deserve to be appreciated and respected. So that's part of that divine beauty, is knowing when to extend the compassion and grace and when to say, I'm just going to do me. I'm just going to, sit here in this energy, this, fearless kind of overcoming obstacles, like that sort of energy. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to love on me and work on building up my light and shining my light. So that is the message that was coming through today. And again, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. I am also going to be posting additional videos over the next week, and maybe some special ones this weekend too. So make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted when the new videos post. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.